few years ago, I made an extraordinary discovery. I found a chapter of media history that nobody knew about. It turns out that alongside the vast amount of records that people had been listening to and recording, a huge culture of home-recorded gramophonic records had been completely ignored by media history. My project could be described as a media archaeology of voicemail, taking place precisely at the moment when voicemail is over. I'm writing the history of when voicemail began. Voicemail began not on cell phones, not on even cassette answering machines, but on gramophonic discs, home-recorded gramophone records. The history of that home recording is the focus of my Einstein research project.
We are celebrating Billy's 15th birthday.
This is Billy talking. Willie and Billy. Billy has not wished me yet for my birthday.
This is a culture widespread in the 1930s, 40s, and into the 50s in Europe, in North America, in South America, and elsewhere that has been largely forgotten. What did people record? Where did they record? How did they record? Who was recording? For what purposes? These are some of the questions that my project attempts to respond to. What happens to the form of the letter when, instead of being written, it is spoken? What happens when people speak? What models do they use? Theatrical models, radiophonic models, telephonic models of speaking into a technology. In general, you could describe my research as located at the intersection of technology, aesthetics, and politics. Media history, media theory, cultural theory. One important dimension of that is what one could call media archaeology, uncovering aspects of media history that are previously unknown or largely ignored as a way to better understand later and even current media cultures. The first years of my Einstein project were largely occupied with finding, cataloging, digitizing, creating the archive of gramophonic voicemail that I am now writing the history of. One of the most exciting aspects of my research is when a new piece of phonopost arrives in the mail. Not least because I have often very little idea of what's on it. There is sometimes a little bit of description, but who knows what's on the record? Is it even playable? So every time I get one of these pieces of media history, the possibility that there might be something extraordinary is very real. And indeed, on more than one occasion, I've discovered absolutely extraordinary things. We are dealing here with an archive of ghostly voices.
Mit Erstaunen muss ich feststellen, dass ein Songschreiben von meiner Truppe angekommen ist.
What then happens is it goes to an audio lab. There it is digitized. On the raw capture of the audio, then some processing is done to clean it up if necessary. It's only once I have the digital copy that I subject it to repeated, extended, careful listening.
Und jetzt die Mama.
Auch von mir recht herzliche Grüße an alle.
Und zum Schluss Richard. Die ganze Mischpoche grüßt recht herzlich euer Richard. Websch, alter Haudegen. Wie viele Degos-Figuren hast du schon umgebracht?
The final stage is all this material then gets uploaded to an archive located in the cloud, so that ultimately, when the archive becomes public, a resource will have been created for the study and future archiving of this chapter of media history. What's important to understand about this archive is that it is a vernacular archive. This is not an archive of great performances. This is not an archive of famous people. This is an archive of everyday people making everyday comments about everyday things. Media historically, this is an archive of people's encounter with the possibility that their voice exists outside of their bodies, which means it's the possibility, it's the archive of people's encounter with the fact that they may no longer be. Which is to say, and it's fascinating in this archive how often it comes about, people invariably start talking about death. Because this voice, this speaking, will continue to speak even when they are no longer there. One of the great luxuries of being a scholar is being able to indulge one's passions as one's work. In the case of my Einstein project, for example, it's allowed me to indulge the impulse of the collector, a passion for finding objects on eBay, in flea markets, etc., as my research. Nothing is more fun than making a great find, and nothing is more important for research than making a great find. What a happy moment when those two are the same.